Fireside Chat, revamping your organizational structure to create a resilient workforce for the hybrid workplace of the future. I would like to introduce our moderator, Mr. Gaurav Saini, GM HR, Core BU, India, MEA, Asia Pacific, Global Lead Business Transformation, HMD Global. Also, I would like to introduce other panelists, Ms. Saswati Sinha, Head of Human Resource at Evalueserve India MEA. And I would also like to request Ms. Adhrua, Minocha, Head of Human Resource India at Louis Dreyfus Company. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause for our other panelists.
Morning, everyone. So I think Adhrua was on the way, and she was giving us a live tracking. I've reached Sheraton now. I've reached Novotel now. I'm in the lobby now, so just reached, and thank you very much. So it's always been very nervous moments when you have, and I have personally delivered anything or talking after KGS people, because my wife worked with KGS. So, where is Mr. Katua? He's gone. Okay. So, it's always nervous moments, right? Yeah. So, right. And when you have very prominent two HR leaders, and especially ladies around you, for a fireside chat, then it is always, again, a nervous moment, right? Yes. Okay. So, when we're talking about this hybrid work culture, I know all of us have been going through, thought through after a COVID, but it's not impacting only at workplace. You know, it's impacting us at home, everywhere. And a small story to start with. So just after the COVID, there was a kitty party of the ladies. Okay? In that kitty party, I might have heard this story maybe in the past or maybe through some WhatsApp, this thing, but I just remembered this today. So this kitty party, they had a prize for the woman. Actually, they asked a question first, that when did you maybe express your feeling to your husband that and said, I love you. Okay? And the organizer of that kitty party said that if you, the best answer, who gets the best answer when you send a message to your husband today through the mobile phone, okay, the best answer will get a big prize in terms of some gold, maybe 1 kg gold, let's say that, okay? The prize was very exciting. So he said, okay, fine, you start sending the message. And this is because after the COVID, and people started working and started going to work, it was a hybrid mode, right? So then everybody sent the message to a husband, and the answers which they received were very, very different. Like, one of them was, tabet to theek hai? Second was like, okay, you want to go to your maybe parents' place or what? आज घर में खाना बना है कि नहीं बना है? You want to go out? अभी तुम्हें मजाक सूझ रहा है? I have so much of tension at work now today. So all that sort of answers were there, but the best answer which won the prize was, I love you too, but who are you? So it is also kind of the same kind of situation we are undergoing through hybrid work culture also. Sometimes we are lost, right? So the first thing is, and Saswati, this, maybe I can ask you this one, is do you think that organization structure plays any prominent critical role in maybe enhancing or building up a solid hybrid work culture? When I say solid, means like it is engaging, it is resilient for the people, and they like it. and they are kind of been feeling safe in that environment. So do you think there's a structure involvement there?
Thank you, Gaurav, and hi everyone. Good to see you here. So I hope you get some learning nuggets from the experiences that we have. To answer your question, by structure, do you mean the framework of the organization, the
Yes,
line of the
yes.
business
How do we,
structure?
yeah, how do we set up our organization? Is it like
Okay.
the same structure will work in the hybrid environment, or do you require any kind of changes in that when you went into this kind of environment, when we used to have like,
Yeah.
we had org structures from long back, right?
Yeah.
From decades. So
Yeah.
is the same structure valid still?
Okay, so let me answer this in giving examples of my current organization is Evalueserve, and my last organization was Samsung Group, Jail India. So I was in Samsung when we were struck with COVID. The one thing which really, really worked for us, that point of time, it was not hybrid per se, but it was more like work from home. Then suddenly it opened up, Samsung being Samsung, come back to office. So we came to office for some time. Then again it closed. It was going on like that. I think one thing which worked, and I'll be fast
I
because
hope
we
they
do
did
have.
not have at 9 a.m. reporting sharp on.
Of course.
Oh, they had it.
Of
Okay.
course. It's a military discipline. It's a Korean culture, right? So of course they had it. And it has worked for generations for them. So I think it's been successful, and people did report in by 9:30. So they had that. But I think, you know what, one thing structurally, what had worked, really, really worked for us, and this we call as the King Arthur's Roundtable. What we had decided at that point of time is just to keep ahead of what people were doing, because we didn't know the systems and processes, especially in Samsung, because it's so old. It's not applicable at home network, right? So it's very, very strong in terms of compliances, etc. So we had to adopt quickly. And in that adoption process, we had to figure out what the last mile of person was doing, right? So it's a value chain. So if the last mile is not doing something, then it impacts the whole value chain. So we came up of the concept of King Arthur's Roundtable. So we used to have these meetings virtual, morning and evening, team-wise, where everybody had it. So it's a round table. There was no team head, there was no junior, there was no senior. So all the team heads had a round table. There is no VP, there is no hierarchy, nothing. So they had a seat at the round table. And in that round table, we were discussing that this is the situation, then what is the solution? The solution might just come from the junior most, or might come from the most recent joinee who's bringing some learnings. And that really helped us. Now, cut to. Now, this is like actual. Evalueserve is really actual hybrid, where we are saying that you have to come to office twice a week. As a culture, and I proudly say that, we are not somebody who penalizes. It's a very different. The Korean culture and Evalueserve culture is absolutely other two ends. Here it's more about what's in it for me if I come to office. What do I get if I come to office? Come 2 days. And we can talk about collaboration, we can talk about new learning till doomsday. It will not go through with just talk. They have to see it happening on ground, right? So we started doing this 2 days a week, mandatory come to office since last year. But I'm telling you, we have a listening tool through which, AI-enabled listening tool, through which we listen to people's feedback continuously. We have had so many feedback when people have come back and said that, hey, I'm okay with hybrid, but I should be able to come 1 week in a month. Why 2 days in a week? I should be able to come, once in 2 months. I'm in my hometown. I have to relocate. So give me some space. So we have had so many conversations around it where I have my answer. These are all anonymous. They don't, these are anonymous messages which pop up. My answer has always been, come over, see the difference. And if you don't find advantage, I am here. I am there 5 days a week in office. If you don't find it advantageous, we will consider a request. But start coming first, okay? Now, from that stage last year to this year, when we have at least 60-70% of the population coming in 2 days a week, because they saw on-the-job learning, they saw that people, all of us are having the same kind of problems, so we are in the same boat. We have had, we over-communicated the organization's vision, mission, structure. We made seats which are not dedicated, my seat, me seat. All the cabin doors were opened up, in the facility, everything. There is no hierarchy-driven cabins, etc. We opened it up. We said, you sit wherever. It doesn't matter. This is your place. You sit in the cafeteria and work. You sit in a nook and cranny and work. Be comfortable. Get it done. Talk to people. I don't know. So many fun is one part. But more than that, the interaction, we facilitated so many conversations at a leadership level, at a junior level, at a group level, team level, virtual, non-virtual. I think that has helped. Is that the only way? No. We are every day thinking of new ways. 95% of Evalueserve is millennial and Gen Z.
Okay. So, Adhrua, any addition to this? Like what Saswati has mentioned, you have any examples, best practices you have done in terms of changing the framework or maybe structure or the way you maybe guys have worked?
No, but so what Saraswati mentioned is, Saswati, you mentioned was high engagement, means you all have worked together to just up the engagement levels, and I guess what you're getting now is, the results of that high engagement. We're very different, we are a merchant organization. We did not know what work from home is. If someone asked work from home, we would frown on that, and though we were well equipped, everyone has a device, everyone has laptops, but we did not like work from home. COVID came in and everyone around the world had to work from home, and we were like, oh my God, how are we going to do it? But we took some time, but work has to go on and you have to perform. So we started doing, and we took to it very, very well. So we were somewhere in between, when, of course, it happened. And what we did was, again, the engagement levels went up. So the connect, right from the global team to the regional team to the branch teams, everyone was connecting. And also we have different kind of workforce, right? So we have assets, that's your manufacturing setup, and we have regular office. And the whole merchant organization works on supply chain. So if you don't get the supply chain, maybe a Samsung thing, if you don't get a supply chain right, you lose out. And it's high volumes with very, very thin margins, unlike an FMCG. So you need to get it right and efficient. So what we did was getting it in between. So assets had to go. We were also classified as essential services. Assets had to work, even when the world was closed or India was closed and there was huge uncertainty. What we did there was we started focusing on safety of employees. That is something that's anyways very, very important. We put additional stress on it. So whatever it required to ensure employee safety was done. So in terms of additional perks, in terms of food being delivered, in terms of, maybe more, if there was a bus service, then you have 2 bus services because of your social distancing norms and all of that. The shifts got working a little differently. So all of that is what we did for our manufacturing organizations. And we also ensured there was a huge amount of recognition, because this was actually standing up not only for the purpose of our organization. We are food processing organization, or rather very basic, right? We get your coffee beans and that has to be processed. We are the edible oil refiners. So, those things had to be done. Our mission is from farm to the fork. So we upheld our process, we upheld our vision, and we said this is excellent that today we are serving not only the country, but we are serving and living our purpose. So that was one thing that we kind of come in, and I don't believe that any over-communication there, you just have to go on with that. So that was one part. And secondly, what we did was something in between. It was like, okay, what is it in for you when you come to office, when the situation changed? And what is it that you lose out if you do not come to office? So the stress was on both the things. Yeah, FOMO. And we realized that's not something that can be driven only by HR, and that has to be driven by manager conversations. So we stress heavily on training our managers how to have conversations which will get in more connect, which will get in more development, and which will get, make the team members feel more valued. So that was what we put our efforts on, and the results were good. So we did face some problems on, I don't want to come to work, why should I come, and things like that, but in the end, we were able to get in line quite early. We today have 3 days working in Gurgaon office and Bangalore office. Everyone else, our domestic offices have to work 5 days work week. Assets work the way assets have been working, no break. And there was a little bit like, you are working, we are not working, but it was all set that you have to do. The best part was during this time, we went in for a Great Place to Work certification. And God, how scared we were. I was like extremely scared of that. We've done everything. We're getting good feedback, but we need a third-party agency to tell us that what we did is right or wrong. And we got certified.
Okay.
So then that worked.
No, good. I think good inputs. I'll share my experience. So one is we are a mix of. We are a mobile manufacturing company, and we sell and we market and manufacture. So one is a manufacturing
Yes.
unit thing which we have, and the sales team, which has to be in the market every day, and the other team is the support function. So we had a workforce which was not as kind of, it was a hybrid workforce, I would say. So some are working from home, and some are working from there. So a challenge was very different, that our sales team also started comparing that, okay, why can't I just work like I used to deliver during my COVID days? I also deliver in COVID days, and why do I need to kind of travel so much? It's
And
a
it was
genuine
acceptable
question.
that point in time.
So we had these issues, and the second problem what we faced was, we are a global organization run from Finland. The ideology is from there. They used to compare what is global policy. And my India leaders, they are orthodox, little bit of that. They don't understand productivity can be enhanced or maintained in a hybrid work culture environment, and that to a sales head. So all those kind of angles were there with us. So we said, okay, let's work maybe 2 days or 3 days to start with. This will be fixed days for this function and fixed days for this function. Honestly, we did not get a good response. People, they denied that, why are you fixing us for these days? We want to be flexible in our days as well, as Saswati was mentioning. Not in terms of monthly or something, but week also. I will decide my day. So honestly, our attendance picked up very fast when we gave the flexibility to the people. So one aspect here is that the hybrid work culture, you cannot fix the mindset of the people or make them disciplined for particular days. You have to give them the entire flexibility that, oh, you have 2 days or 3 days of work, or maybe in timings also. Like we put a 10 to 4 mandatory timing where overlap can happen for most of the meetings. And people can maybe, if they are reaching at 10:30, they can work till 6:30. It's fine with them. If you're reaching at 9 o'clock, you can work till 4:30. So you can maybe leave early. So we had this flexibility. Unfortunately, we were a hybrid work culture before COVID as well. So people started comparing. We already had this.
Fortunately. Why
Yes.
unfortunately?
But this was basically the expectation I'm talking about, that we were already doing 1 day or 2 days working from home. Now already we are the same one, and we are comparing it
You were a
with.
dream organization, huh?
Yes.
Before COVID?
Yes. So that was the problem. And there's a mix of bags which we had it. But how do we sort it out is, obviously, flexibility is one important aspect which is there.
I totally agree. So when
Yeah.
we did this, teams could decide what days is important, when are they coming in, and we're not stickler about time. It's okay.
And one more thing which I want to share with the team here is, we normally think the Gen Zs and the millennials are against coming to work. It was ulta for us.
Yeah.
So the people who had kids and people who were kind of married and all, they never wanted to come to home or come to work. And the millennials and the people who are young generation, like between, I would say the age group between, I'm not the millennials, Gen Z, but age group between 25 to 35, they were the people who were coming mostly to the office. And they are coming like nowadays 4 to 5 days as well. So this is again one observation which is there. Now the second thing which is important for us, because I think most of us have gone into that mindset that this is going to be there for some time. When I'm saying some time, because we all HR guys, I'm sorry for this statement, we always start jumping for new things. right? So this is a new thing and new toy for us that we are trying to solve, and playing with that is hybrid work culture. It's not going to be there for permanently very soon. In next two to 3 years, it will settle down. But still, we have to kind of deal with this in next 2 to 3 years as well. So how do you engage the workforce? You have mentioned some of the things, but engagement is another challenge which I see, and when I talk to people, is a big challenge for hybrid, because you have some people working on site, you have some people working off site. So any thoughts on that? Any best practices you want to share with the group here? You have done it besides what we have mentioned already, specific to engagement. Yeah.
Okay, so because this is L&D conference and there are a lot of L&D professionals here, I'll tie it up
Yeah,
with that,
yeah.
right? So we just had Evalueserve. I have a Evalueserve L&D professional here who had joined another organization after 11 years of being in Evalueserve. So we have something called Evalueserve University. Okay, so it's professional services, it's in the consulting space, right? So for us, upskilling, it's a client necessitated upskilling. So we've always been very focused on learning and development because it impacts our business, especially domain skills. But what we had launched last year was Evalueserve University, which has got 5 pillars. And one of these pillars is onboarding, second is behavioral, third is leadership, fourth, and so on and so forth, domain, etc. There was a program called Ilium. We have a program called Ilium, in which we say that there will be panel discussions, and it ran for 4 weeks. We said there will be panel discussions, we will call up external speakers, we will call industry experts, and there are modules, and you keep attending. These are more like knowledge sessions, engaging session. There was one panel discussion which I moderated, and the panelists were millennial and Gen Z from our employees. So they had come up. One question I had asked them, and in many different forms, was that, hey, do you guys like training programs? Okay, do you like attending training programs? You go to YouTube to learn something, right? So you are learning something. So what is your modus operandi for learning? What do you want to learn? There were 2 answers. First is we are very, very interested in learning a new thing which is coming up. Okay. Now, new thing which is coming up is an ocean. So I deep dive. New thing, what do you mean by that? New thing which interests me and which will help me move forward. You know? So that means first insight is that they're looking for more customized. So if you are an MBA in analytics and have embarked on a career as a research associate in Evalueserve, you still have that analytics thing in your mind. You want to apply it in your work. So anything related to that, you want to learn something new. How can I then apply it to my work? So that is one aspect, I think, whenever we are constructing programs. I train, but I'm not a L&D professional. I'm more HR, right? Business HR. So one ROI is customization is what they are looking for.
So you mean to say customization of the training programs.
Content.
Content led to the engagement for the people.
That's one.
Yeah, okay.
Second is the attention. So
Okay.
they say that do not talk to me. Listen to me, converse with me. I learn through conversations, not just this one-way talk. I will not learn, I switch off.
Okay.
I think L&D, these are the 2 things which engage us.
Anything else? Yeah. Maybe besides L&D also we can touch upon that.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
So ours was besides L&D because there's a lot of value that you've already added there, right? What we thought was, the whole team culture, giving flexibility to teams, what we saw was people were very, very attached to teams, but that one LDC and the one organization feeling was something that we had to work on. So what we started stressing in is getting cross-functional teams together. Now, in semi-formal environments, so whether it's a knowledge sharing session, and the attendance for those used to go skyrocketing up, but they were like very, very well structured, proper modules, proper structure, proper timings, invites, and all that. And cross-functional teams were coming together internal trainers, and that was extremely successful. Also, then little by little, we started going on events, and then we started from online to offline events and meetings. And then we went back and said, how does this feel? And people were like, this is more collaborative. I know now. So now people started stepping out of their teams and started meeting everyone. So that one LDC feeling came back, and that worked really, really well for us.
Okay, so one thing which worked for us was communication. We had more open communication.
Yes.
What we used to have before COVID, when we used to have maybe face-to-face working. When I say communication is top-to-down communication, when there are updates on the business, there are updates on the things, what are we doing and what is happening around us, about the business, what are the deliverables. We committed something, we want to go back to the people and said, okay, fine, we committed to you in a more impactful way. So we used to do that earlier as well, but we focused it through our communication. That has worked very well with us in this hybrid model. And the second part of the communication was more of town halls.
Yes,
like
we did that too.
We used to have maybe once in a quarter, but we started having it once in a month, and that to global town halls. So it's not like, so we had a model of global town hall and then India and other specific to regions. So people started getting involved in those communication. Business is going good, not doing, even like small information, I know it's L&D group, but my cash flow situation, how bad or good it is. So we used to present it to our CFO, used to present in a graph model, not in the exact this thing, that where are we going? Are we going down in the cash flow or this thing? And then it is so engaging. People used to ask, so curiosity's sake, they used to ask their managers this question, are we doing okay? We were down in that graph. So some like that, so there was engagement. And the other part which played a very, very big role was talent and performance discussions. So we focused it that we should have very, very formal talent and performance discussions, which was happening. So we had maybe a half-yearly this thing, but we made it a quarterly update on the performance as well. Because one thing is that you come to know after 6 or 8 months that what your manager is thinking about doesn't help you. But if it is quarterly and it has been kind of structured way listed in the tool, then you get to know that what's going on and what's not going on well. So these are the two things which I want to add on to it. Besides that, you have all the fun activities, reward and recognition system, onboarding, you just mentioned, everything is there, and L&D, obviously one. But here I want to say, I just don't want to kind of comment anything which is disruptive, but I'm a firm believer in this, that L&D, when you have anything online, will only work in a technical courses. Anything which you want to work on the culture and the behavioral part doesn't have that much of impact virtually or online. You need to have that face-to-face.
Format needs to change.
Exactly. So that is something like maybe...
Not necessarily offline, Gaurav. I beg to disagree.
So that's okay. We have this chat, so you can do that. But it's my experience that when I want to change something in my behavioral skills or anything, online course hasn't helped me at all. And this is something like, I can only listen to it, I can grasp something, I can maybe conclude that, okay, fine, this is a good thing to do. It's like a pravachan. When you are having something like a Guruji or somebody like that, religious person telling you something about some pravachan, and you're listening to it, and that you can maybe grasp something, but it totally depends on you.
So the approach has to change. It cannot be in pravachan.
Yes,
it has to be a conversation, is
right.
what I was trying to say.
You know, I would add to that. What worked for us very well during this time frame was our, we stressed on DE&I that time. And we had online courses which made people go through their own biases, okay? And after that, we had a session where people spoke together. So I think the combination works very well. You can come to a classroom knowing nothing, or you could have gone through it yourself, and you know, okay, what are my biases? And the course is a beautiful course. It goes, and first you say, oh my God, that person has so much biases. Then you say, oh my God, am I biased? And then you realize there's a different way and a perspective of looking at things. And then you have a program, which is offline, it's super effective.
Uh,
Means in absence of that,
So I'll come back to you on the
yeah,
diversity and
yeah.
thing, but before that, there's one question popping in my mind because L&D is like, connected there. Is there anything or any thing which you feel that the leadership development or their training could have helped or will help the organizations in this current hybrid model to create this resilient workforce which we wanted? Do you think there is a requirement for a training to our leadership or the managers also in this current environment to handle this hybrid workforce?
You know, what we're talking about really is to develop culture, connect in an environment where everyone's not coming to
So
work, right?
culture is very wide. Culture
Yeah.
is the accepted norms which everybody has to follow.
Who drives the
Or
culture
follows.
really? It has to be top down, no? Not bottom up.
Well,
Largely.
not necessarily, but
I mean,
yeah. So
yeah, means if your leader's saying what it is and he walks the talk or she walks the talk, then the possibility of other people believing in that is high.
Yeah.
Of course, if he's or she's doing totally wrong walk the talk, then we're going in the wrong direction, right? So, and the managers and the whole onus goes on the conversations that you're having, the quality of conversation. Like you said, what is it in for me? How am I growing? So that, and how do managers handle that conversation becomes extremely, extremely important. So yes, the leaders have to be trained on how to handle it. It is not anymore top down or I said so, but it has to be extremely inclusive. And how do you really enable development? So how many of us or how many of the leaders know what is what? And it's a constantly changing game, right? So yes, they need to first know themselves very well, and then they have to take this forward for others. So yes, there's a huge, huge need for leadership to develop various perspective and be aware of it.
So Saswati, you want to add anything like that? We need a
Continuous training of anybody who's managing team or who's at a leadership position. No, I'll not say training, but continuous awareness of what they should be doing to ensure more collaboration, more resilient workforce, more productivity, more etc. It cannot be a one-stop gap.
Right. So I want to share one incident here. We created a module for our leadership team. Yeah. So in that, what we did is everybody did that for a few minutes, so we can also take that. So the thing is, we created live at home videos for our leaders, for some women, for some bachelors, for the guys, for the husbands, for the fathers, for the mothers. So we created some videos, right? And it was a real life scenarios which we took it from some of the people who were constrained also, or they were like by choice, they were not able to come as a hybrid, because hybrid is not by the employer anymore. It is not a push anymore that, oh, I want you to work 3 days or 4 days. Employers are flexible. It is a pull which is coming up to the employers that yes, the people are demanding it. So we had these real life videos for our leadership team. Yes, I know. So these kind of videos, when they kind of correlated with this and the environment they had it had a very good impact on the mindset of the leaders who were orthodox thinking leaders, that productivity doesn't kind of is not matching up as it used to be earlier days. People are not disciplined while working virtually or hybrid model. Half of the time we just changed the night pajamas to the day pajamas. So there was a concept like this and the thinking like that. So, but it has helped us out.
Very effective. Very
so,
good.
Yeah, so it has helped a lot actually.
Yeah, I
So
would think
it
so.
was real time, real life, and now
Eye-opener
people are
of sorts,
changed.
huh?
Yes,
Total
and the people
eye-opener.
have changed. They have understood what goes in a mind of a mother who used to have a daycare facility, but she did not have any more for next 6 months after the COVID was open. Actually, there's a real challenge.
Yeah.
2 o'clock, you have to receive the child.
Yeah.
What do you do with him? Right? So those are the challenges which managers accepted and they cooperated. And I think we have a very evolved and developed mindset today on the leadership part. So L&D community creates some good content, I would say, for the manager and the leadership team to change this mindset as well. Because last thing, The culture. Culture also plays a very important role, right? So you have to build up a culture of hybrid workplace. So we cannot be a hybrid work culture by only structure or giving 3 days or 2 days of flexibility. It has to be a culture. Okay? So we end up here. Thank you, both
Thank
of
you
you.
so much,
We can
Gaurav.
take
Thank
maybe
you
one
so much.
question or two questions if you have any, but yeah, because the time is up. But you started late. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you
much,
so
everyone.
much.
Yeah.
Requesting you to please be on the stage for felicitation, and thank you so much for such a wonderful session. I would request Mr. Krishan Kunal to be on the stage for felicitation. Mr. Krishan Kunal, Director Strategic Sales at Better Place. Requesting Mr. Kunal to please felicitate our moderator, Mr. Saini. Thank you. And now requesting to please felicitate Mr. Saswati. Please give a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you. And now requesting to please felicitate Miss Minocha.